the strength of the Japanese region that everyone's been telling us about all this time.
All right, you know what? Let's see which map we're going to be playing on. Jess touched on the subject only a few minutes ago, so I'm excited. Again, it's a best-of-1 series with overtime. You saw it in our very first game here out of the four that will have very coastline. Yeah. So yeah, Villa, coastline, complete opposite ends of the spectrum and gameplay. And okay, is this the right decision, Jess, for Cyclops to go for?
For Cyclops specifically, the only time they ever lost it was the absolute smashing from Fnatic. I don't know if you guys remember it. You've got to surely think of the line of Lusty standing on the courtyard roof going, everyone that ran past the V. So that's all I can think of for that. But they did beat Guts on it. And I think during the Japanese Nationals, they beat another team there as well. So they've banned it a lot, because CAG likes to go to other maps that are a little bit more technical. So this one surprised me a little bit, but it wasn't really their choice. So, with the bans going on.
Yeah, kind of a similar sort of story with Fav. Like, this isn't a map they like playing a lot. They ban it more often than they play it, absolutely. Like, it is one of their more banned maps. They've lost it 3 times. They haven't won on it. That kind of tells you the story as to how this might shape up. But they do like taking some teams to it. They played Giants here. They played Xavier here. They like bringing more structured teams to this map, it feels like, even if ultimately they do lose. So I think they're going down the same sort of thought process here. CAG a little bit slower, a bit more structured. Fav want to come at them with aggression and pace and really bring the game to them. Could be a success for them.
Maybe.
All right, looks like Fav is starting off on the attacking side of this one, Cyclops on defense. It is coastline, and our lobby is ready, so I'm just going to have to toss it very quickly to our casters to get it all done and set. Hap and Fluke await us on coastline in sunny Ibiza. All yours for a big Japanese game, Fav and CAG. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milos. And yes, Coastline is where we're going to head to. Some happy gung-ho play. I believe we're about to see on what is a very aggressive map in the right hands. And I think in both of these two teams, it's the right hands.
I think so indeed. We have seen both these teams play here before, and it's a new season, it's a new dem, and let's see whether or not they are going to be able to give us another banger of a match, because the previous one, it went to maximum OT. We saw so many double digits. I think that's what we want to see all day long. We had an amazing day of EUL yesterday with just amazing matches all around, so why wouldn't this one be, right?
That's it. And obviously now we've got one of those showdowns. We talked about how yesterday in the second game we had the CIS region showdown. Now we've got Fab versus Cyclops to bring this best of power Japan back out. So let's see who has the gunpowder to carry them through. Lion, an instant removal. It's fair enough. It's often removed from this map because of how quick to the punch the firefights can be across a lot of these sites.
I think that's kind of it, right? Because you're so aware of the fact that these pushes can come down very quickly, and a Lion just limits you so much in terms of the defense. That scan goes out, you're basically unable to move, or there will be hot pings, which will make it a lot more easy for the attackers to try and gun you down or put some utility your way, as the Ying now gets removed as well. That's another of those operators that could be used and could be combined in combination with a very quick push.
That's it. It's all about pace on a map like Coast, and it's all about how quick you can take over certain territories, because the eye lines that lead all the way through to the skylines are nightmarish to try and keep yourself solidly locked down. Nothing is ever truly safe or secure in Coast, and because of that, it becomes a very aggressive pinch and pull play space. But with the Mute and now Maestro rounding off the bans, it still leaves a certain Mirror on the board.
Yeah, Mira, however, not very often played anymore. Now, I hope to see that change. There is, of course, different ways to use them. We do not very often see them on the hookah side, due to the fact that there can be angles found to take them down from the roof, for example. However, if we're going to service and kitchen, that would be the site where the Mirror will definitely be showed to the public. As it, of course, would be coming down, watching the entire service entrance, blocking any potential entry. But as hookah billiards is first, I don't think we will see the Mirror now.
Look at this. Well, I was going to say with the Melusi there for a second, control of space, maybe going to Nope, locking in on the
No.
Oryx. And I guess with Anaton, that plays into how Anaton loves to play, which is aggressive mobility, taking over the map and just making sure that they're a problem pretty much everywhere. But you look at the rest of that roster, the Castle, the Aruni, this is a lockdown play here. They're making sure things are uncomfortable to swing onto and push through to. Aruni coming into the meta has seen a lot of play over the past 2 days.
Now, the one thing I want to mention with this lineup actually is the biggest criticism point Coastline seems to get is that it's so hard to rotate around due to the fact that you have the big giant hole on the roof that can basically cut down, both sides of the map. You're not going to be able to rotate through that top floor. Now, of course, you bring that Oryx into play, you can open up the hatches with your Bailiff if you manage to carry that along, which indeed Anaton does. You can just jump up again. You basically avoid the roof completely, so you're allowed to rotate freer throughout a map where rotation seems to be the biggest problem.
Well, with the hold set up and the long angle open via the softs all the way into VIP, I'm curious to see how much they try and contest that, but Anaton is so far playing potentially underneath the hatch for the master bedroom, maybe going for a loop round, but it's a very dangerous bit of territory because it can very quickly be shut down by anybody that are playing on either service entrance or Lamborghini door itself, so you have to play it with a lot of caution, but Master is still going to be the first port of call and point of impact here, knocking down the castles and making sure that they keep some control over the eye lines and the play space that is otherwise, as I said, hotly contested pretty continually. Anaton is the one that's trying to counter-peak any approach, with Gator offering some support on 90.
Bit of a gunfight going on right there. CK Razor taking a bit of damage, but nothing too much so far. And with 1 minute on the clock, you know that the attack still has plenty of time to try and make their attack stick. But however, you see right now, oh my god, Typhoon just taking down Black Ray there with a beautiful shot of the MK14. As I was explaining about the discomfort the attackers must be feeling as Gadarada now takes down Afro.
Gadarada putting some aggression back in towards any of the approach here. Obviously, Fav have thrown a lot towards this master bedroom take, and to be fair, there was a lot of bodies of CAG that were spread out all the way underneath, looking at doorways, and going to have to look a little bit sharper as Shin is able to find Gadarada just above. Now then, it's a matter of trying to collapse against this Aruni, still dug in on 90 and trying to play with some control, finds Shin and cuts them off at the pass. A 3 versus 3, body for body and blow for blow. We're seeing these two teams keep going. Number 2 is the next to put his name on the board as Gator is finally taken care of, and now they can finally start focusing on the bodies left on site if Anaton decides he needs to rotate all the way back round.
That's the thing, right? He can jump up, as you see right now, and that basically cuts down the rotation. He doesn't have to go up from blue. He doesn't have to go up from white. He can just jump up that hatch and instantly be in the battle. Just has to be careful that he didn't get droned out as he's worrying about someone potentially being on the roof. Now, that's not the case, as number 2 is just repelled up onto the hookah window. It's Anaton to try and get closer, get back, whilst actually the push now seems to be coming down from the luggage area he was just holding on to.
Number 2 catches Suzu C just holding onto the hookah window, and well, that's going to give the game away that there's at least one there no longer. A quick swing round and a drop, and now the other 2 bodies are on the aqua side. Trying to stick the plant, goes for the man on the cover, goes again, and Karazer is just going to stick it down. The bravery of a man fresh to a roster lives up to those expectations and gets it in a post plant. Can't quite catch anything more than the arms and the shoulders of either of the 2 bodies down in aqua, swimming their way to a bit of a success story here, as all they have to do is hold the angle. Anaton uses the ability to smash through the wall and offer themselves a little bit more of an idea of ingress. They have the idea of the diffuser, bait the Dokkaebi dropper and go for the swing on the second, can't find it, and there it is, the big rotation comes through, and Fav take the big angles to a little bit of the success story.
Very well played there from K-Razor. Just as soon as that plant is down, rotate all the way around, get your ass into VIP, and make sure that you're going to be able to, well, take down the kill if it somehow comes down to that 1v1 situation. No one expects that, and it takes a lot of courage to do so. I would say, like, it's a bit of a risk, right? If he would have gotten that kill earlier on, you would find yourself near the theater room, that defuse could have already gone down by the time you're actually finding yourself in a position where you can challenge it. But it worked out this time. It worked out well. And thus you see the round going over to Fav.
Well, different angles, different ideas, and same lineup for the board across the top, potentially thinking they might have a trip double down there, but instead we head to kitchen to see what is going to be served up by the defenders. They've pulled off of that rotating idea from Oryx might have just been a play on the top floor, but either way, they've also left off the castle too. I'm curious to see if it's something where if we do get back up to the top site, maybe they felt they overextended a little and want to pull themselves back, because it was a very wide and vast hold they had. Ooh.
Painful. He's gonna have to take an aspirin or two.
Yeah, I don't think that cures bullet wounds to the face. I'm not a doctor.
It's a simulation. It's a simulation. It was like they were. I think the lore behind it was like that they had like these suits with like very many sensors and.
If this is what airsoft is like, sign me up. I want to play with cool gadgets. But hey, it's gadgets and a bit of a balance there, and as I was saying before, it was the extension of the castle and the arena. They threw themselves across the map. They did play themselves back round, but I mean, these are two teams that know how each other likes to play. They're two teams that have met quite a lot across the national scene as well, so they'll be aware of all these games, and instant pressure there from number 2. He was able to pull some bodies apart, playing that Iana support role, as she so seems nowadays, being able to take care of so much utility with the frag grenades, the Gun 6, and the Gemini. It just really puts a bit of pressure onto an Aruni player.
Yeah, really puts some good use into Yana there, and that's why we do see her more often than not right now, and well, more often definitely than compared to the last season. I'm only wondering how much more her pick rate will increase over the course of the seasons right now. As C4 right there will almost take out Afro, just barely surviving. Wondering how they knew that, if that was just a sound call or if they have some sort of cam, maybe with a Mozzie drone.
Either way, they're lucky to survive for now, and that was a big bit of utility, but a big gun from the hands of Afro, who was pretty frequently one of the ones that really stepped up to the scene in the previous season. Number 2 makes the entrance via Hall of Fame and looks to put pressure onto Galarada, who has dug in, holding a very tight angle, but there's no one else here yet to support the pressure that they want to apply, still trying to take control of Cool Vibes and Hookah, opening up an angle to see if they can catch anyone that might be playing close by. It's verticality to shepherd those bodies to more uncomfortable situations as Typon goes for another call. Still no catch is falling into the favor of Fav, and more time is slowly slipping through their fingers as they start to apply the pressure at round 90. Digging in close, the camera is held and dropped by Ayagator, but they can't quite win the fight. There is the trade from Galarada on the opposite side, and well, now it's actually, he didn't even lock it down. Anaton was the one that was able to find the kill.
Oh, beautiful second kill there, though. Number 2 will be taken down, and that brings us into that, well, advantage right now for Kai. But they have to be careful to not lose their member right here. Galarada needs to stay alive for as long as he possibly can. And this is a very crucial position right now as he's trying to move through and drop through that hatch. Very well played, as this is going to be alleviating a lot of the pressure right now. They're still going to be trying. Oh my god, Afro able to pick up Anaton. I didn't even know he was still behind there. And as he tried to rotate out, gets picked up and gets caught off guard. And that brings us back to a 3-on-3 as the cameras are now getting hacked by Dokkaebi.
Right, a 3 versus 3, as you said, and the pressure is starting to mount and come down onto the bodies that are still inside site. Service door is where Galarada has found himself lying down and waiting for the approach here around the corner of a man that's spraying towards a shield. The smokes are popping and explosions are all over the backside of Service, but it's Galarada that finds the first, swings on the door, and the second 2 handed to him in a diffuser for trouble, but Black Ray decides, well, he doesn't want to wait around. Cyclops find their response.
They have it. They managed to pick up the round right afterwards. Actually inside right there, the Ash. Probably didn't really notice that until the traces were coming out right there, but managing to pick it up. Even though they lost some unfortunate gunfights. Galarada on 90 after Anaton that was picked up as he tried to rotate out. They still managed to waste a lot of time right there, which allowed them to basically force Fav into making a sloppy last push, not having time to drone, allowing them to set up in these little hidey positions, and that's exactly what happened.
Blue Bar Sunrise not going to try the hold on Hookah again, and still playing with this idea of stemming and slowing the momentum potentially, but not being more of the brick walls that Castle could offer. So it's the malleability that I'm enjoying so far from the defense of Cyclops. They're making sure that they still have this backbone of the hold, but they're happy to try and go for these swing fights. They're happy to try and hold the angles, as we saw in 90 from the previous round, where the way Vigil has dug in from Galarada on a couple of different doorways and found success across both of them. It was more confidence in that playstyle and kind of less, I guess, suffering the pressure that Fav was applying before.
Definitely so. They were able to stall them out, and that is going to be key right here. We also mentioned it before, the attacks of Fav can sometimes be slow. And if you manage to play into their weakness, and you try to, like, make that effect worse by stalling out as much as you can and trying to play as passive as you can, you got to be able to make sure that the routes are going your way. And Black Gray and Anderton both able to pick up a kill right there, both from spawn peaks. That is going to be a very good start to this round for Cyclops here.
Yeah, that's a pretty big blow there, obviously. Shin and Afro instantly taken off the board on their approach. A little bit too calm and complacent and punished for it. Which is probably going to be a bit of an MO, as I believe both these teams are going to start to step up and heat up as this game increases in round count and in body count. But the pressure starts to come in across multiple different doorways. Concerned about the potential of someone swinging in from service entrance. Still calling and droning, and it's a little bit of a singular push right now as everybody else that was otherwise going to be here before has been dropped. The grenade rolls out to the wrong side of the bar. Can't quite catch them out on the opposite side as they're still just getting a piece of information. But as much as CAG is swinging onto windows and doors and peppering bullets towards them, they're not overextending. They're still saying, okay, well, that's too early. Come and take the rest.
Trying to make a push happen still. You see the members of Fav being aware of all the different angles that could be created, all the different angles they could be peeked from. And as they are hoping to make amends for the losses that were all suffered early on in the round, might be a mission impossible because they have to attack those bars. They barely have any control to work with, as two of the members are still outside. Only just number 2 managed to enter the top floor from the hatch, but besides that, no information, no control, and there's only 70 seconds left on that clock. Oh, beautiful tap again though, Taipon. He manages to keep on hitting these one taps with that MK14, and at least gives him a little bit to hold on to for now.
Number 2 suffers as he tries to enter onto VIP, but doesn't catch the man on the rotation on luggage. Gatarada escapes with a sliver of health, but a heck of a scalp for his troubles as Kereza finds himself struggling inside Hookah. Very isolated, pushes via the flash, but they don't need to take it too aggressively. Taipon gets taken care of by Anaton. No tap there on the man behind the bar, and now it is only the new player and face for Fav left standing, but not for very long. Cyclops, with more aggression than previously, take, well, everything.
Very important double spawn kill, I have to say, right? Because it basically did not allow Fav to take any control of the map anymore. You saw them struggle. They were trying to work for it from the outside of the map. And of course, that is possible when you're working with the bars because you can look directly into the blue bar. There's also a window that directly gives you a line of sight onto the bar and the pool entrance, of course. So theoretically, you do not need full map control. However, it's always, of course, better to have it, just to make sure that no jump outs and no vertical angles on you are going to be created. But yet again, Cyclops able to lock in that round in the end. And, well, they were choosing to go for the Oryx this time, but they swapped it out for the Vigil. So, no jumps yet.
Baiting and play.
Work that well.
And I will say the Valk on the board as well. They're going for a different style of information game. And I think it's the swing of confidence now. And it prevalent, obviously, when you get 2 spawn kills, you say, well, that team's confident, and then you look at how they played the rest of it. They were still putting pressure on triangles. They weren't throwing themselves outside, as some other teams could have done. They were kind of saying, okay, well, you want to take the door, you want to try and take this window onto blue bar. We're still here. We're still causing problems. Obviously, Gatarada swinging against number 2 upstairs from Hookah all the way into VIP. Didn't have to massively take that, but because he did, it then meant it was very much impossible to try and get that top floor control that they were trying to build on. They had Taipon holding the windows down beneath, but the attempt then was the pinch across the top floor to try and get some bodies, and Gatarada's response was, well, actually, I'm going to fight you as a 1 versus 1 before you even start.
Just rotate around, try and get a kill from a different angle, and get the drop on them. But hey, next round, let's see if Fav is going to be able to actually enter the building this time without taking any losses, and it looks like it. As some pressure on Hookah is right now being put up, a grenade actually being used to open up that door. That's a very curious way to do so. I'm not sure if there was a piece of utility right behind it. I don't know quite why they did that. I'm thinking about it, but...
Well, Either way, the Aruni was the cost there, potentially, that was just stated through, but it's the pressure that, well, hasn't quite landed. The barb is at least gone, and now it's looking to see if they can make the calls and apply the pressure. The first to suffer is Black Ray. Almost caught Kereza from the swing on the Sunrise window, but couldn't quite lock down the final bullets, and they were popped up and put back down. 5 versus 4. They have that man advantage, but it's quickly swung away from them. Suzuki in number 2, 1 apiece. Afro takes the damage, pops through, and goes for the plant. Tries to find some semblance of calm in the chaos. Are they aware as Typhon locks off the angle? They swing round and take it. Gatorada! All the aggression leads to success, takes care of the diffuser, puts it cold on the floor, and for all the one hits he got before, the one that mattered most couldn't quite get the shot off.
I was going to say, he set type and locks off the angle, but he didn't even do that. He had to lock down the angle, but he failed to do so. The plant does now cold, the diffuser cold on the ground, and they will have to go and recover that if they want to go for an eventual plant. And now they do no longer have the even men count. They will have to work with that deficit, and if you are going for that plant eventually, you're going to find yourselves in a 1v3 situation for about 7 seconds, which can be really hard to fight. This Typhon right now trying to continue and getting that diffuser. He's instantly trying to push for that plant, trying to go for the bait, but I believe that they're actually down below. I'm not quite sure what the plan is around here. Isaiah Gator getting some shots off, but not quite the kill yet.
Sprays around. They're not throwing themselves into this. You can see Anaton was beneath, but it's Gatorada that instead gets the kill in the meantime. Number 2 couldn't quite catch them on cool vibes either. Cyclops finds some success on the hookah site and now have that 3-site rotation to keep building on their defenses.
Yeah, of course, only lost the first round, which was also hookah, the one we just saw being won. The 1-3 right now coming in is definitely going to be helping Cyclops. It is the momentum that is building, and you see the aggression is really coming in their favor. Even if they lose that first pick, they just peek back even more aggressively and manage to turn it back into their hands. Right now, so going back to kitchen service. We are seeing the Aruni. We are not seeing the mirror yet. An operator that was previously highlighted as potentially making the cut on this site. But something I do want to say is you see the Lion band coming in, right? And then you're looking at the Dokkaebi, and I'm kind of realizing why the Lion was banned, because you really do not want to play against the combination of those two. Phone calls going off together with the EU1D going on. I'm pretty sure they would have brought it if they had the opportunity to.
I think that's it as well. It was something I first started to see in NA, was that use of the Lion to just quick push and play and just take control with so much aggression. And then you talk about this region being so famously aggressive, especially the specifics of Japan, where they have that pace and they love to apply it at times. And I think Lion is just going to be a constant removal across, because it does offer those kind of players and that kind of playstyle so much support and so much possibility and culpability for the defense. But for now, though, it seems like Cyclops have lent further into that aggressive on their defense. They were able to keep themselves putting pressure back onto an attack that went for that sneaky plant, that went for that quick fire play, all the confidence of a man running across an open field and finding success. That's what you need against a team like Fav, and that's what's worked for Cyclops.
Anaton really showing up together with Gatorada right there. Those two are really the hands carrying the rest of Cyclops on their back so far in terms of kill count, at least that is. Whilst Fav is trying to get going, but it just get disrupted the entire time. Either it's by a little bit of a spawn peek. You saw one being attempted right now as well. It didn't really go well for Gatorada, but he manages to escape with his life, and that is the most important part. As we are in kitchen dining, you again see a very heavy roam right here from Cyclops that they are trying to stall as much time as they possibly can with.
So many drones are filtering under the feet, and Afro's dug in, waiting for the potential swing around here of the Jaeger, but no one is caught as of yet. Typhon putting the pressure in from above, but Anaton is allowed to escape all the way through towards VIP. We'll hear that window break and swings on the doorway. The diffuser's cold, and so is your Habana now. No more hard destruction, so you gotta hope that everything else falls into flavor, and that's a way to make it taste good. Shin getting the revenge frag there, taking out one of those two big players that's been able to do so much for Cyclops on the defense so far, but it's still only part of the work, and the trade between the Jaeger and the hard destruction on other maps, it's a little bit more valuable. Here, it's still very costly.
Yeah, it's still very costly to lose your player, of course. It is not the end of the world, unlike Clubhouse, if you would be losing your only Heart Breacher there. But as Afro will be able to pick up another kill, there's definitely trying to go. Oh my god, Gatorada with the 90 flick. Up onto Typon, turns it into a 2v3 situation. The diffuser is still called. They still will have to try and recover that, and they're working on that as we speak. Number 2, opening up the floorings, whilst he actually doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that there's a Valkyrie cam right above him, spotting him at this very instant, so they actually know what's going on. Shin, in the meantime, grabbing that diffuser, being ready for the last 45 seconds of action, which should be giving Fav a round.
Well, they've stacked themselves up above. They're still looking to make sure the angles that they want to take a hold of and charge of are safe and securing themselves a little comfortable pocket. But the longer you do this for, the less time you have in case something goes wrong. And we've seen things go wrong on the push of Fav before at the final hurdle. Diffuser carriers dropped, and that puts you in a very awkward situation. Gatorada still playing a little bit off site, still pushing themselves around the opposite side of the main desk as Suzu C is the one giving all the calls about the intel of the push. Swings on the window. There's your diffuser carrier down, and there's Gatorada getting Afro in the meantime too. Number 2 falls third. Cyclops find their 4th.
Very well played right here. Cyclops able to shut down Fav, even though they were in a man disadvantage right here. And, well, I wanted to actually say, in the middle of that play-by-play, there is still a frost. I'm not sure if there's any mats left in front of that window. Didn't seem to be the case, but if that would have been the case, that would have been, like, so detrimental, you know? You're going in for the last 10 seconds, and you're jumping into a frost mat there with the diffuser, forcing your teammates to go right after you. But it didn't matter in the end. Cyclops able to just clean up right there. But Gatorada and Eniton, they're both 9 kills each, really stepping it up, and well, the rest of the team just, you know, chilling a little bit. It's not like they have to step up because the rounds are being won anyway, whilst they still win their ones, and that is the most important part.
Well, if there's a site where you would bring a mirror for her if she's on board, it's Penthouse. It was often the reason she was removed and why we saw this site sort of fall out of favour, because in the words of the great Northern Irishman Demo, mirror can make a bad site good and a good site untouchable, and this is in a lot of people's books without her a bad site. It's tough to control. It's tough to keep a lockdown inside that bedroom area, that quick hop in from the bathroom hatch too, so extending yourself further back, having yourself with those rotation possibilities, making things uncomfortable, which only really she can offer. Sure, they've doubled down with the Clash, and I'm curious to see where they implement her in this play, but it adds this possibility of this site to the board for a lot of the teams. Let's see if it's something that Fav still have in their wheelhouse in terms of attack.
Now, there is a couple of things I would like to note out. You do have that Clash as well playing there, which is going to be making it very oppressive to try and enter the site. And now we're talking about Heart Breachers. This is probably the site where the Heart Breacher is most important of all. You need to get that VIP control. You need to open up right behind the bed, because that is the one place that you're safe from those mirror windows. That's the one place you can plant without being bothered too much. And that means that right now, K-Razor is a very important player for this team, for Fav. And he needs to stay alive, unlike Typon, who just got taken out by Blackray with a Peter. No, yeah, Peter and Roni shot actually coming in.
Well, we said that center of the danger donut is, well, dangerous, and that's why there's so many different angles and peaks and plays you can get taken care of from the quick calls that came out of Typon is here, I'm suffering in luggage. And Blackray said, don't worry, I got it, I got him. And takes care of them. Someone who's made them suffer so much on the swing. And Afro is able to get some revenge, though. Gatorada goes down above Office, holding onto the Aqua drop. But here is Blackray trying to swing around on the flat firefight from Blue and offer some aggressive support here. Creeps further and further in, getting very brave and bold. Might not know that someone's there. Yes, they do. Oh. And yes, the catch is there. Afro, the catch of your life, and you make it count.
Very important right there, making sure he stays alive, making sure the men count stays on 4-4. Otherwise, you would have been losing one of your stronger players right here on the side of Fav. But 4v4. 90 seconds left. Luggage control now being established. The drones are coming out. It seems like we're going for a complete top floor hold. And, well, you have the Sophia, you have the Ash, you have the mirror windows you need to deal with. And the best way to do so is definitely from the bottom. So one of those players should definitely go there, but the lobby presence is still there for the likes of Cyclops, which is going to be making that very hard right now, as Anaton is trying to put some pressure down into the actual hallway, making sure that the pressure will be, well, alleviated just a little bit.
This makes it so difficult to try and hold the angle. There's so many possibilities of them to swing around the corner, and they're just trying to keep that pressure at bay from the long corridor. Suzuki suffers in the meantime as Anaton has to pull back. They are low health, so any of those pop charges from Ash could be the end of that clash in the wrong situation. Here is Fav applying some very, very good cross-pinch pressure here. You can see Shin still holding that angle from the bathroom, trying to catch anybody who comes round Hall of Fame and make sure that those bodies inside the site are isolated. There's the drop, and there's the pinch and pressure from the opposite side. Now a 3 versus 3, and it comes down to this kill. Suzuki can't quite get it torn and blown at the right time. Kereza finds Anaton though, and it's only Black Ray left. Swings back to site, puts bullets towards one. They drop down, hits the old body, finds the real one, and Shin in the meantime sticks the diffuser. Cool as anything. Now as we find ourselves in a post-plant situation, both players on half health, it will come to whoever gets the intel first, and it's a very tricky situation here for a Mozzie that has been pretty rabid around the map. They see the head of the Zofia, they dance around the pillars, they try and spray the bullets, and there he is, put to bed! Quad kill!
I was gonna say, the big advantage he has right here is the fact that the Zofia, the fact that Shin was too afraid to put the new mag into the gun because he was pushing out with that pistol rather than with the M762. And that might have won them the round right here on the side of Cyclops, as they were able, of course, to put more rounds into the head quicker. A quad kill, as you just mentioned. A 1v2 post-plant clutch coming out right there, managing to get the defuse out. And that's Cyclops right now onto 5-1, only 2 rounds away from getting the full 3 points.
That's a pretty good defensive half for a map like Coast, where oftentimes you will see something more akin to a balance of 3-3, maybe even attack having a little bit of favor, the ability to swing in now onto your defenses, onto your attacks even, with a 5-1 lead. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good buffer that you've got on control. Curious to see the Glaz. Okay, the swap from the Nook, baiting 2 very different playstyles. It was the possibility there when you're seeing a Monty and you're seeing a Nook on the board at the same time. You're kind of thinking this is 2 potentially very different pushes. And
I was going to say, it's a very weird lineup when you have a Nook, which is all about stealth, and like a giant clunky boy that is just going to stand there in the way. The glass makes more sense though, due to the fact that there's, look at that, 4 smokes on the board. So we might try, I think, it's either going to be a aqua take, with the glass of course playing maybe upside down rappel, looking through the smoke, hoping to shut down whoever as the Monty goes for a reverse plant. Or as you're looking at the drones, they're very heavily concentrated towards the actual hookah side of things. You might see a rappel coming up from the hookah window whilst they're trying to plant in the actual door. And providing cover that way. So there's multiple ways this could go at it, but this does look like a focus to plant rather than a focus to kill everybody execute.
to be fair play. It's the idea of we can lock some control down. We can get some solidity with the calls coming out from DKB, and obviously huge angles held from the possibility of Suzu C, which is otherwise obviously the surprise 6th here in this situation. It might be something where they do find themselves saying, well, here's our pocket of plant space, and here's our security. Black Gray, in the meantime, wasting no time, leading in with the F2 on the opposite side, and instantly trying to put some pressure to anyone that might be round to the back of the bar. But it is clear it's cool vibes, and they saw a taste of somebody, but Afro, well, he's able to take the first bite.
No, of course, there is a Monty on the board. They have heard it already, of course, was revealed as well, but the 6-pick is always a option. Being used right now as a bit of a living drone, hoping to draw some of the attention. So far, Fav, however, not really biting into it. They're holding their angles, they're staying passive. They know they are the ones that have to defend, and it's not the attack that has time on their side. And thus, right now, you see the rotation coming through, the glass on top of that balcony. You see the Monty being ready as well. The smoke is getting popped. It should be helping Suzu C right here to try and maybe get a kill out, but counter smokes are coming in right here from the smoke himself. And that is something they need to be using quite well.
Well, there's 2 grenades caught and burnt. They're able to take care of the shield with the gun 6, I believe. And there's the smoke canister putting them off the direct angle. They want to try and sneak this body in and see if they can get them behind Monty. They're concerned about the cross peek that's coming from behind the bar itself on the quad wall. And the cover is there, but nobody has quite caught anyone. Here's the first, though. The run out's attempted, and there they go. There's the smoke canister, and it's all Fav all across the board. Suddenly only 2 bodies left onside Hookah Balk, but they can barely barely find anything against the Bastion of the Wall itself. The swing comes around on the top of Cool Vibes, but it goes no further. A flawless for Fav.
I was going to say, it's going quite well for Cyclops here because they managed to get the third smoke out. However, the Monty got stuck in the doorway and wasn't able to rotate out and slowly died as a result. And after that, it all went downhill. You saw the run out coming in, making sure that the cover that was there from the windows was being taken out as well. And Fav able to pick up their second round so far. The mirror now being brought out as well, so we are going to kitchen service. That is the initial side. I said we would probably see the introduction of mirror. I was wrong in that case, but we are going to see it nonetheless.
I mean, it's another site where you can have a lot of control against service down, but at the same time, you require safety on the above. You require a lot of faith that the hold on the top floor is one where you're not going to be forced into really uncomfortable positions really quickly. It makes you feel a little bit isolated at times, and when you've got, obviously, you know, the Bucks on the board, they're going with the Monty again, which probably gives a bit of the idea that, you know, usually when they've got a Monty on the board, they want to try a service take. They have to try and keep a bit of control behind that mirror. It allows them to, you know, if smoke plays there, long arm all the way back down, or try and catch the close on the default plant spot just behind the solid lattice work on the corner. But it all, as I said, falls down to this. It's how they play the top floor and how aggressively Cyclops are able to isolate some control up there.
Yeah, definitely. Cyclops, they are going to be needing to take that control to put up that vertical pressure, making sure that the players of Fav are going to be feeling unsafe trying to play around on the actual kitchen service entrance. As, of course, that is something we do often see in many of these matches. People often choose to go a little bit offside in that case as well, maybe play in the bathroom, maybe play in the pantry. Often that does give some form of security, but it does lock down the positions, the playable positions of those defenders to just a select few. And if you are then going to be storming in with full members, you know which angles to check. And thus, that top floor control, really important to try and contest, at least very long on, as Anaton again taking a lot of damage from just the first smoke canister so far.
Yeah, suffering instantly. Your Monty's half health. There's still 2 in pocket and 2 minutes left on the board. Plenty of time for anyone to try and get something a little bit closer. You've also still got 2 C4s in the pocket too, and one of those could be much more deadly to an already wounded Monty. Galarada swings in and enters onto office and just has a quick pop round the drones to make sure he feels a bit secure, but it's Shin who was lurking around the sun kind of corridor towards the main reception desk, put some pressure back round and get caught on your drone and suffer the consequences.
I was already thinking that. Is there a person sitting right next to him in that case? And indeed it was. It's going to be Galarada to get taken down. One of the top fraggers so far for Cyclops hasn't been able to make an impact last round. Will not be able to make an impact this time around. Leaving it over to Black Braces and Gator to pick up for the slack right now. In this 4v5 situation. There is 80 seconds left on that clock. Shin is finding himself in that main lobby, hoping to get 1 or 2 beautiful taps out with the MK14. But in the meantime, it's Gator using the vertical angles we have been discussing before to try and take out some of these defenders. And K-Razor the first one to fall.
Close angle held now by Shin. They've obviously put a soft to see if they can get an idea of if someone pushes from office to try and get some revenge. But for now, it's a pretty flat push across the board from Kag. There, as I said, looking towards service with the Monty and seeing if they can make sure that they have that control and coordination with Gator trying to lock off from above. But with the potential of Shin here rotating and almost finding a second player entirely unaware, Gator escapes with his life. But in the meantime, Taipon does not. Inside the site, they're suffering some pressure. Suzu C wants to try and capitalize on the fact that Shin has rotated to the top. They are more than aware of where he is, and in the meantime, more Fav bodies drop below. They go for a very wide take there, almost take the firefight onto the man around the corner, but look, the diffuser's going down. There is a quick pickup from Afro, a post-plant situation. Monty snuck his way in amongst all of the rest of the chaos and found a close push. Afro is trying to offer some just anything that he can pull apart from this attack. Unfortunately, he can't really get anywhere. Sprays to the man behind the projector cabinet. Can't quite find it with a pistol either. And it's Gator that puts Cyclops on map point.
In that case, it's a 1v3 post-plant situation with the defender being offside and there being a Monty on board. Now, if there's, I don't think there's worse odds of winning a clutch like that. Like, the Monty will just extend the shield and hide in the corner. There's nothing you can do. The two members will be either one outside and one above, holding the vertical angle. Like, it's basically lost in that point, and they should have just tried and canceled out the plant. The Monty is really an operator you need to get rid of if you want to have a chance at any of these post-plant situations. But Cyclops right now finding themselves onto the match point. Again, the Monty will be brought out. We are going for the blue bar and sunrise bar, and the Warden is now being brought out as well, because we've seen quite a bit of smokes being utilized right here by the side of Cyclops. And as I say, the Monty's coming out might actually be 6 bigs away into a different kind of operator. No, okay, Monty into Monty. Very 300 IQ.
I do like that they were thinking about it, though. I'm obviously talking entirely from assumption here, and I could be wrong, and maybe they were just playing around with 6 pick. But my guess is that they're discussing the idea of, okay, well, we've played a Monty play twice in a row. Let's do something different. We're on map point. This is when they're most going to expect us to keep playing this continual play, and when they're probably going to look for a strict counter towards what we're doing here. And I think maybe they went, no, let's stay with it. It's been successful so far, because you'll see a lot of teams, if they're building a successful play around a certain operator or an idea, which is get behind Monty and try and get the diffuser down. Sure, it failed the first time round, but it had that success the second. You then swap what you're doing, and it can take a lot of teams by surprise, because they'll be a little bit too wrapped up in what was successful. It's that survivorship bias of, they got in with this Monty because we couldn't stop it. Maybe we need to look at finding an adaptation to remove that, and then that's the perfect time to strike. But so far, it's Afro on the man with the magical glasses to see if they can stop the approach of those smokes.
Anytime someone says survivorship bias, I always have to think about the anecdote about the planes from World War II, which actually came back to decide where more armor had to be put down. But nonetheless, talking about armor to be put down, there was 2 frost mats being placed in the one window in Sunrise Bar. And you might be thinking, well, why 2? Well, normally this is not a window you would rappel up to try and take down those frost mats, because it's quite dangerous to do so. There's still a blue window they can push you from. Try and push some damage down, as K-Razor definitely does that with a beautiful C4. Well, red and taking down Black Ray. There's a lot of the vertical pressure now that is just going to be completely gone as Aegata response.
Well, looking towards Lamborghini door to see if they can apply onto the second person. Typon hasn't been able to quite have the impact that they were previously, but still standing and still offering a buffer. The big extended hold that they have via that kitchen is making things pretty tough to get an entrance and an angle of approach, so they can't really offer the security and the crossfire towards the cover that is otherwise needed towards the potential plant. Here, though, number 2 puts a bit of fear into the heart of Monty as he tries to make his way onto Hookah. It's still a steady clearing and pushing that they want to do across this top floor. Again, the pocket of space idea that was successful before, but so far there's a body gone a piece, and one of them's the Buck, and that's going to make things very tough for the top floor.
They still, however, have the Monty available to them, and that is going to be very big. The one thing they have to take care of, though, however, is that one Banshee and the player in the corner. That player in the corner is going to be crucial. That is going to be making sure that this plant is not going to be coming down together with Afro, who's playing right behind the bar. There's a crossfire right here. And number 2 needs to make sure that the shots will be hitting, as Afro will be taking a bit of damage right now. K-Razor will be taken down, and now Fav is aware. Okay, that means the Super Shorty is above a C4 again coming in. The second hit, the second kill to come down. Gadarada now into a frost mat, will be caught off guard, and that brings us into a 3v2. Very favorable for Fav.
Hopped over, caught by the frost mat, and 2 C4 kills. The traps are raining down onto the hopes of Cyclops for this attack. They put everything in trying to get the control of the pressure here, but the 2 angles held by Afro and number 2, well, they're able to just lock down. All of the chaos that was going on around them finally paid out in dividends. Aegata, all that is left, looking for something from the top. They have the yellow pings, giving the game away that somebody has rotated slightly further off. But with only 10 seconds and 3 bodies left to get through, and now a firm idea on where they are. It's just a matter of seeing if they can get one more before they go. Oh no, it's Afro, and they find their 3rd round.
It's only the 3rd round. It feels like the match is way closer than that, to be fair, and we're finding ourselves still at 3 consecutive match points right so far for Cyclops. 3 rounds, they have the chance to try and go for the full 3 points. You secured 1 by the new system. There's no more Swiss. What they're used to were only the win and the loss counted and nothing really else. It now also matters how convincingly you win. If you do it without the overtime, 3 points. If you do it with overtime, it's 2. If you lose in overtime, it's just 1. And without overtime, a loss is worth 0 points. So it's always worth fighting. It's always worth at least that 1 point onto the standings. And you never know if that is going to be the difference between playing playoffs in the end for the 6 major qualification, or for the 6 invitational points for the 22 invitational, or if it's going to be meaning that you're out. So always try and go for the maximum amount of points.
Staying on the Monty for now. We saw it light up with the 6th pick just at the end there. But again, hey, who really knows what's going on in the heads of the players outside of them themselves and those in the comms? So they're trying to change something up, and that is the pickup of the Hibana in the hands of Suzu C. They're dropping the Glaz, dropping that idea of holding a long angle, and seemingly trying to apply a little bit more pressure, because as we saw, the push against Hookah failed because of the cost of the ADSs and the Aruni gates that were otherwise littered between them and the 2 bodies at the far back. They want to make that hold that was otherwise really, really solid from the swing in and any attempt of getting into Hookah, well, not held. And the answer there is to bring the Hibana. The ability to obviously change the amount of pellets you're popping out can really put a really big price to pay on those ADSs. We all sit and lean forward in our chairs and see if they catch anybody, but no luck from the top of that double window.
No luck yet, indeed, and Fav continuing their roams, continuing to hold the pressure so far over the map, and it will be up to Cyclops in the next 2 minutes to try and take that control away from them, to set themselves up for a beautiful execute, potentially the last. So far, as a chem gets taken down, that means that there could be some pressure coming down from the cool vibes now, and the only thing they can work with is just going to be purely the sound. A couple of the ADSs, I believe, that are put down into that corner. But it looks like, again, they are swapping over the ID. They are looking to be pushing through that door and hoping to get a plan down. Now, we saw that it went wrong the last time due to the smoke canisters of number 2 coming in, able to pick up Anaton, who got himself stuck in it. That's a very interesting X-Kairos.
Potentially to try and remove any gadgetry that's around the door.
I would assume that it was maybe meant for the wall after.
I'm just trying to be friendly. I mean, it could have been. It could have been either way. You'll sometimes see it on softs. If there's like an ADS on the back side of the wall, you can destroy any surrounding utility by popping stuff onto the softs. But at the same time, it could have also just been likely they were trying to hit the shield. So who knows? Either way, we know that Shin's down, and that's a bit of a blow. Obviously, a big gun and the possibility to get them back up. They cannot quite catch the feet, but they do almost catch Typon on the rotation. Suffered, but saved is how that interaction has boiled down. And Anaton sprays down and takes care of number 2. A big blow on the board. That's the smoke gone. They're able to pop 2 of the canisters, but I think there was still 1 left in pocket. More burning of the ADSs. The creep up the cool vibe stairs. Sprays round, and a man caught unaware as they're able to down the big shield, but it's the cost of the player holding it. K-Razor is trying to swing around the opposite side as they tepidly hold on to Aqua from the singular bit of pressure coming from Galarada on the backside. But in the meantime, with K-Razor able to find Black Ray, swings to the second, can't quite get Monty in time, but do find Shin and do find Iana. Typon is all that's left, sprays deep to try and apply some pressure. Anaton has the diffuser in hand, so they can't have the Monty hold the angle. Instead, it's a big rotation.
Still 1 impact left, which might be really important. Look at the HP right there of Anaton. If you manage to get that impact right behind the shield, you're going to be taking care of that Montaigne, because we talked about that before. The 1v3 post-plant situation with a Montaigne alive is basically guaranteed a loss, but right now he has the opportunity, manages to get 1. Now needs to get the kill onto the Monty, but he doesn't manage to do it. Just a little bit too little damage to actually get that kill. Rotates right in front of the window, needs to go for that defuse, but also needs to get both these players out, and he's trying to go for that Monty first, but he's only being baited right now. There's no way you're going to be able to be quick enough, and he will be taken out. Suzu C able to get that final kill. It's Cyclops to go for the win, and I hate to say it, but it is very well deserved. They played really well, and even though they were relying on the Monty quite a bit, it didn't really help them that much, I dare to say.
I think that was the thing, is the Monty was offering themselves a bit of a ballast, and it draws the idea of the focus, and I guess we'll never really know how much of it was the play and attention, but either way, Anaton stands front and center as what tied together a very good showing from Cyclops. They were able to take control of Coast, and everything was to their pace, and that was played with them on their attacks and on their defenses too. It was after that very first round they suffered at the hands of Fav. From that point onwards, pretty much the Cyclops show.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it anyway. Des, you're wrong. I'm gonna tag R6 Defense in this one and enjoy that one. Analyst desk.
I think that's a throw.
That's a throw. But I don't think they realized. All right, look, production.
Give it another go, Hap.
Analyst desk.